As we all know, the requirements for Windows 11 are arbitrary and unnecessary. To prove that point, here is my base model Mac Mini from 2014. Currently right now is booted into Mac OS. So now I need to go and boot this thing into Windows. So let's see, it's settings, disk setup, this, give me a second. Security theater bullshit is security theater bullshit. Do your job, you piece of shit. There you go. Restart. There's the boot chime. There goes the autofocus. There's the Windows 11 load menu or start screen or splash screen, whatever it's called. Give it a couple more seconds. I did upgrade this to an NVMe drive, so it should boot it up real quick. But it is a base model Mac Mini, so it is still limited by the RAM and whatnot. But as you can tell, even though this Mac Mini is not supported under Windows 11, it is fully running Windows 11 completely fine. And that even includes the boot camp utility right here. So if I want to boot back into Mac OS, which I'm going to do in a little bit, I can do that. And of course, everything functions as it should. I don't have a single crash, no blue screen, no nothing. The crashing bullshit Microsoft is saying when it comes to unsupported devices is utter fucking bullshit. So, just to prove that point, I can boot back into Mac OS. There it goes, there's a chime. And just like that, I'm booting back into Mac OS. So, as you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to show you one method to install Windows 10 on unsupported computers. There is a caveat though. If you have a GPU or an iGPU that's too old, it will not work anyways, and you'll get an error. Which, if you do get that error, you're basically shit out of luck because your computer is just way too fucking old. Because Windows 11 uses DirectX, I believe 11 or 12 or something like that. I can't remember which. I believe it's 11. Someone can quote me in the comments and whatnot. But if your computer is too old, Windows 11 will not install even if you go through the process that I'm about to show you. So what computer am I going to use that is unsupported to prove my point and also to show you how to do it? I am going to use my Retina MacBook. This is from 2014. This is the 12-inch model with the horrible butterfly keyboard. This was originally my mother's. This is the upgraded version with the M3 and 8 gigs of RAM. Unfortunately, only has a 250 gig SSD inside this thing that is unupgradable, so this thing's pretty lackluster. Hence why I got this Mac Mini. But with that said, as you currently can tell, this thing's running Windows 10. And it's also running, and of course, if I wanted to, I can boot back into Mac OS. So let's go and do that. Now, for some reason or another, sometimes the chime on this one doesn't want to function when you do boot camp. Normally, you gotta press a certain amount of keys to like reset the PRAM or something like that in this thing to get the chime to start working. But other than that, this Mac... Oh, okay, never mind, the chime's working. And as you can tell, it's now booting into Mac OS. So I'll come back when this thing boots into Mac OS. Alright, it's now booted into Mac OS, so I'm going to reboot back into Windows 10 and we'll get this video on the road. Alright, so to get this done, first thing we need is a Windows 10 ISO and a Windows 11 ISO that we can get from Microsoft's own website, so give me a second. So to get the Windows 10 ISO, just download the installation media creator tool, whatever it's called, and just run it. If I can click it properly. I'm having to do this through the viewfinder of my iPhone, so it's a little difficult on me. So this is going to take a little bit, so I'll come back. Alright, so pretend to lead the terms of service. Let it do its thing again. Alright, so we should be at this screen next. So obviously hit create installation media. You can leave this as is. If it's 32-bit, it's not going to work. It has to be 64-bit, which means you also have to have a computer that can support 64-bit. And if you don't, well, obviously you can't do this. So next you hit ISO file, next. Choose where to save it. I'm going to save it to the desktop. And so I don't get the ISOs confused, I'm just going to put 10 at the end. And I'm going to hit save. And we're just going to let that do its thing. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to Chrome or whatever web browser you're using. I don't know why you're not using Chrome if you do, or if you're not, whatever. And we're just going to look up Windows 11. Actually, we should just look Windows 11 ISO, sorry. Here we go. And of course, we hit the first one right here, which will bring to this page here with multiple options for downloading. We just want the ISO, so we go to the bottom one right here, Windows 11 disk image. So Windows 11, select the language, confirm, and hit download. And then we're going to let this do its thing, and we're going to let this do its thing. So I'll come back when both the Windows 11 ISO and the Windows 10 ISO are done and complete. Alright, the Windows 10 ISO is done downloading, so let's see if the Windows 11 ISO is done downloading. And for me, both of them are done. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Windows 11 ISO and drop it to the desktop so I can easily get access to both of them. So next thing we need to do is we need to make a new folder and just name it Windows 10 or just Win 10, whatever you want to do. And then we're going to open up the Windows 10 ISO. We're just going to select everything and we're just going to drag it to the Windows 10 folder we just made. It's going to take a little bit to copy over, so I'll come back. Alright, and with all that copied over, now we need to go into the said Windows 10 folder. We gotta go to sources, and we gotta find a little file called install. Dot something something, gotta remember what it is. It's install.est, and we're just going to delete it. Then we're going to open up the Windows 11 ISO. We go to sources, we find its install dot whatever it is. Install dot where is it? WIM in this case. And all we're going to do is just going to take this and we're just going to copy it over to the Windows 10 install folder. And since I'm using a Mac, the trackpad and whatnot's a little stupid for me, so that's why I'm missing quite a few clicks. So I'll come back when that's done copying. Alright, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to this PC and we're going to eject both ISOs that are currently loaded. That way so we can have more storage. Then we're going to take those ISOs that we just downloaded, and at least for me, I'm going to try and delete them, but the trackpad is being retarded. And I'm going to do that off camera. Solid state trackpads are fucking retarded, Apple. So since we got everything deleted that we need to, next thing we need to do is we open up that Windows 10 ISO, and as you can tell I actually have it set to Windows 16, but it really doesn't matter. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to run setup. Let it do its thing. Then we're going to uncheck this, go to here, not now, hit next. Let it do its thing. I'll come back. Okay, so it's going by a lot more quicker than I thought. So pretend to read the terms of service. It'll take a little bit, so I'll come back. And next you should get to this right here. So we're going to hit install. And we're just going to let it do its own thing. Now again, this will be where you get an error if your computer is too old. because in certain instances, there are computers out there that legitimately can't run Windows 11 because they're just too old. So since this thing can easily support Windows 11, which it has done in the past, I'm most likely not going to have any issues. So I'll come back when it's needed or necessary and whatnot. Also, I think I stated this before in multiple videos in the past on my channel, but I'm not a professional. As you clearly saw, I bashed my Mac Mini or Mac whatever the heck this thing's called, because let's be fair, the solid state trackpad is hot ass. Obviously, depending on the speed of your computer, this can be fairly quick or fairly slow like me, because in all Apple's stupidity, they made this thing passive cold. If this thing was active cold, it would be significantly quicker than it already is. It's already a decent fast machine, but when it starts heating up, this thing slows down significantly. So with that said, it'll probably restart in like the next 5 or so minutes, so I'll come back again when necessary. Alright, it came up to this screen here after it restarted, so just let it do its thing. It'll probably restart again maybe like 2-3 more times. Alright, it has restarted yet again. Most likely your computer will probably restart also. So I'll come back when necessary. Well, this is a good sign, so it might be booting to the desktop when everything's done. Let's see what it does. Oh, it's just doing it again, so I'll come back when necessary. Alright, it has rebooted yet again, which is to be expected. Let's see what it does. It's going to take a little bit, so I'll come back. Alright, it has rebooted yet again. Now we're at the final stages of getting Windows 11 on an unsupported computer. Again, my MacBook from 2014, which has the shitty Retina, but a shitty keyboard. So it's going to finish everything up, and from what I've noticed, if you're doing an upgrade path like I am, you actually don't have to sign into your Microsoft account. That's actually what happened when I got everything set up on my main computer here. I just upgraded from Windows 10 to Windows 11, and I didn't have to sign into my Microsoft account, so who knows. But the MacBook should be almost complete. Again, installing Windows 11 on an unsupported computer is fairly simple. Alright, so I'll come back when I get to the desktop of my MacBook. Alright, and just like that, I now have Windows 11 on my unsupported MacBook, and hopefully you also have Windows 11 on whatever unsupported computer you decide to try to put this on. So with that said, pretty much all next what you need to do is just make sure everything's up to date, because even though this is a release build of Windows 11, it is still not up to date, because let's be fair, this is Microsoft. You have to go through updates. As you can already tell, I have one update already. So I already got an update from Windows 11. And of course, the next thing we also got to do is make sure, well, you don't have to do this, but I like to do it anyways, is make sure all the crap for the Windows 10 store stuff is also updated too. So with that said, I'm just pretty much going to the video here, because again, putting Windows 11 on a unsupported device is really just that easy.